Hello, everybody, and welcome to the very 7th episode of Cooldown Timer.
I'm your host, Alex, and this is my good buddy, Floyd.
Hi.
Hello. So we decided at the very beginning of this thing, this whole podcast, that we were going to do it under pseudonames. But then we realized recently that that does us no good, in that we can't point you to our other stuff that we do. So we decided that we're just going to tell you our artistic names under which we do other things.
Our lesser pseudonames.
Our lesser pseudonames that we actually have content associated with.
Yeah.
I am Nifu of Nifu Productions.
And I am Zingles Artman of Nifu Productions.
Also known as Zam.
Yeah. It's less of a mouthful than Zingles Artman.
It is true, and it's shorter to write too.
Yep, it is. For us lazy people that don't like to write. 19 letters.
You've counted?
No, it's definitely not 19.
Z-A... Never mind.
Z-I.
Yeah.
Z-I, not Z-A. You said Z-A.
Okay, yeah.
Mr. Grammar Nazi.
Spelling.
Fair enough.
No, dude, there are some words that I just have the pain in the butt time trying to spell. Like permanent or independence or sentence. Like,
I have problems spelling like every word, but those are 3 words that I think I can spell fine.
I have all of it down except for there's at least one letter in each of those words
that like trips you up.
That like it's either an A or an E, and they both can produce the same general sound.
Right. I love switching letters when I'm chatting with you, or adding extra letters in. And a lot of times it'll be me just not really thinking, and I'll spell it wrong, and I'll be like, I could fix it, or I could send it and watch him squirm. Send.
And then 9 out of 10 times I'll say something about it.
Yep.
Oh, you're a horrendous, horrible, disgusting individual. But I love you. But yeah, so the advantage of telling you who we are is that we can start directing you to our other stuff. For example, I run a YouTube channel at youtube.com/Nifu, where I do videos, surprise, surprise, videos on YouTube.
What?
I know, right? I kind of have 2 series going on, one of which is more directed at doing analysis and discussion about digital media, and for example, I had one on Netflix talking about how the way that they release all of their episodes at once for their original content might hinder the creation of a passionate fan base. But then I also, my favorite topic, of course, is talking about video games. I recently did one arguing against the argument that video games cause real-world violence. That's a good one. I'm proud of that one. But then Zam over here, what else? What do you do?
Right now, not a lot on the internet.
Oh, true.
I'm just working on doing design stuff. However, I do have a couple projects that I'm kind of in the works. I've been trying to do comics and stuff, and I know that we have at least one idea for a fun little comic strip that'll probably end up on the Nifu site.
The Eve one?
Yeah. That's a wonderful idea for a comic strip. I have it perfectly in my head. We just got to figure out some logistics on it. We tried playing Eve this week.
I tried to return back to Eve. It was painful. Like, I had allowed the fantasy of what I wanted Eve to be to cloud my memory of what it actually was.
That game, I went through the whole tutorial. I flew to another system. We were about to do stuff, and I believe my comment was, "Space is scary. I'm done," and I stopped. I mean, literally. I mean, I don't know. Like, oh hey, I should silence my phone. That game's just like crazy. Like, I don't know.
Speaking of Eve, I stumbled upon a quote the other day that I think perfectly sums up the experience of playing the game. Eve Online is the most exciting and vibrant video game universe ever created. as long as you only read about it from outside once a year.
It's so true. And that was the thing that I had, like, literally about once a year, you'd be like, dude, listen to this. And you would tell me stuff from Eve, and I'd be like, oh, that's so
It's like all these
awesome.
stories and like
The way that people that's so
and like
cool.
the stories that Mr. H would just like, the big extravagant stories about people spending a real world year, infiltrating a corporation and then assassinating people. The thing about Eve, it's like there are some really high peaks. It's like teenage years.
Nope. Nothing was good about teenagers.
No, well, I mean, the feeling of those hormones.
Yeah.
When you saw that girl that you had a thing for, and that feeling that she could like give you, it's like, oh yeah, teenage years. Woo!
You know what they call that feeling? Horniness.
Touché. But yeah, so you get those peaks, but those peaks are rare and far and rare and in between, and whatever the phrase is. And the rest of the time is just spent doing boring monotonous stuff such as mining or doing missions.
Oh, I thought we were still I was really trying to figure out how you meant this in teenager years. I was like, what the frick?
No, I was back to Eve.
Mm-hmm.
Because technically we never left Eve.
This is really off subject, but I wonder if anyone's ever segued to a conversation about segways.
Segway! So did you hear about the guy who invented segways? I think he died on a Segway.
What?
I heard that. I mean, but then again, the internet is known for, creating horrible rumors that are total lies. My girlfriend and I have kind of discussed a few ideas for what we want to do for our wedding. And I'm telling you this, but you can't take it. You gotta promise you're not gonna take it, okay?
Unless it's one of the ideas we already had, because sorry, we're getting married first.
She had this idea of one of the ideas that we've had that it's as ridiculous as she has allowed herself to go at this point is that we're gonna rent a Segway, and when I go down the aisle or however I get up there, I'm gonna do it on a Segway, so that when she and I walk down the aisle together, she's gonna do it on the back of the Segway with me.
That's very not me and my girlfriend at all. Yeah, we won't be doing that. We won't be stealing that, and we had not that idea.
But yeah, so EVE Online. I think I'm okay never playing that game ever again. So since none of you have had the opportunity to email us yet, because the episodes where we give you our email address, contact us at cooldownttimer.com. Since those episodes haven't aired yet, by the time that this is being recorded, you haven't had the opportunity to submit suggestions for horrible movies for us to watch.
Hey, this is a new fun and exciting new section of our podcast.
So last week, since nobody had the opportunity to tell us a movie to watch, we fumbled around on Netflix and found one that we decided to spend 2 hours with.
The reason we decided to sit down and watch is we were actually going to just watch a movie together. And then he shows me this trailer for this movie called Tai Chi Zero. Holy...
Nope.
What?
Tai Chi.
Did I see?
Zero.
Chai
You
tea?
said Chai Tea Zero.
Chai Tea Zero would be better. Tai Chi Zero, my bad.
There's one trailer that's really awesome for it. There's one that's really stupid for it, but there's one that's really, really cool for it.
We should put a link to that.
I will put a link to it.
All right, yeah.
Link in the thing that's attached to the thing.
Yeah, link in the dangly thing underneath the thing. No, but this trailer literally was one of the best trailers I have ever seen. It described what the movie was, why you would watch a movie like this.
It was
in a very it was very funny. It was a very well put together trailer.
And so we watched the movie, and I think the easiest way to describe the movie would be is if a Chinese kung fu movie watched Scott Pilgrim versus the World and like just copied everything
You know what
that
though?
it could.
I rewatched it with my girlfriend, and I noticed that the first half of it is more like 300.
More like 300.
Like the first, remember they didn't start doing all that special like sound effect like letters and stuff till like halfway through when he gets to the village. That's when they start doing it. Sure. Everything before that is like epic slow motion, capes billowing in the wind, crazy blood splattering in slow motion. It's totally 300. But that was funny was that there was, and I even noticed more. There's so many Western movie references in that show. Like there's that scene from, let me see, there was a scene from Men in Black.
Really?
Remember the dragonfly scene? Where they followed the dragonfly? There was stuff from Scott.
That was from Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time.
No, it wasn't. That was a fairy. This was actually a dragonfly. All the 90s kids are smiling right now.
And then it bonks her head on the grate
I
before
can
she flies through the square.
I can see it perfectly in my head. Yeah, I can see it perfectly in my head. No, but there was that, and then there was that, and 300, and...
Hey!
All right,
hey, listen! Hello! Link! Hey!
Speaking of that, completely losing focus, you know how I've mentioned that Darksiders is a lot like Legend of Zelda?
Yeah.
They have their own version of the fairy and all of them.
Remind me to tell you about this other game that I stumbled upon the other day that is Zelda inspired. Continue.
Well, that was really about it. Like, they have their own version of the fairy, one way or another, it feels like.
Well, there was Navi, and then there was Tattle in Majora's Mask.
Yeah.
Never finished Majora's Mask.
That's because that game's freaking impossible.
The thought that I had... Oh, okay. So I stumbled upon this game called 3D Dot Game Heroes. I think that's the title of it. And it's at... Imagine if you had the original Legend of Zelda game. Or maybe even A Link to the Past. I can hear you crunching. Okay. So imagine you've got the original Legend of Zelda game, or maybe even A Link to the Past, and you took the camera and you brought it down to like almost on the horizon, maybe about 30 degrees up. And because you're at that angle, all of a sudden you don't have the everything's no longer 2D. It more resembles Cube World. And then chop out every couple frames so it looks like stop motion. So you've got a 2D / well, no, it's a 3D Legend of Zelda 1 inspired game where the enemies explode into piles of pixels when you kill them.
Like in Cube World.
You
know what? We're really getting off subject from
the movie.
But
Tai Chi.
I know. It's
Chai Tea.
It's Tai Chi Zero for me for the rest
Chai
of the podcast.
Tea high C. High C orange.
So, you know what I really don't like about Legend of Zelda? And I'm going to get shot for this.
No.
But you know what I really don't like about Legend of Zelda?
That was me cocking my gun.
The dungeons.
That's you getting shot.
Yeah, I mean, like, back when I played those games, and I played them late, but when I played those games, those were good. Like, that was, like, the best thing I ever played. I was like, holy crap. And I mean, yeah, it's fun, and I like and I still have a major soft spot for that game. But I don't think I could, Ocarina of Time. I don't think I could ever play through it again.
Yeah. No,
I've tried.
Dungeons in that type... I have never been a fan of dungeons.
Me neither.
Like with what? Mega Man Legends, I hated the dungeons. It was just like, but I loved the tone of the main city.
Yeah.
It was just like oh, come on.
That game had the hardest boss battles. But then again, we had like the worst
because it was like a PC
port of all time. I don't think I couldn't beat it until I got that
the gamepad.
The gamepad.
No, yeah, no, I couldn't finish that game until it was either I played it with a gamepad or I played it on a PS2 or PS.
That's a really fun game.
2.
I think, honestly, and again,
It was
I'm going to get
PS2.
shot again for this, but I think that was a better standalone game than Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time.
Mega Man Legends was awesome.
Yeah, it was. It was awesome.
Like,
I think
love that game.
That was a great RPG.
I mean, I don't know how well it would stand up now.
Right.
Because, I mean, it's been years since I played it, but I absolutely adored that game. Oh, gosh. I first started playing that game during a period of time when my sister and I would play video games together. And because we didn't really know how to share well, one of us would control where he walked and the other one would control where he aimed.
You guys didn't get far.
We got almost to the end. But I believe I took complete control during boss stuff.
The bosses are tough in that game. Now back to Tai Chi Zero.
Tai Chi.
Chai Chi Zero. Yeah, it was a really fun movie.
It was silly.
Like, I'm not a kung fu movie fan. Like, I think that's the first kung fu movie I watched freaking since Iron Monkey.
I don't remember watching it. I remember watching it. I remember the fact that I have seen it. I don't remember anything about it.
All I remember is
Shark fin soup makes you horny.
that, and then the guy fighting with his sleeves.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, he was like the crazy bad guy. He was like this old dude, and he would like shoot his sleeves at people, and he'd like hit him, and then they like cough up blood, but it was just a sleeve that hit him. It was wonderfully terrible. But
Isn't there also a scene where they're like fighting standing on sticks or something?
yeah, and the sticks are burning.
Yeah, okay,
Yeah.
I remember that. Was that your inspiration for your Minecraft battle zones?
Might have been. But that would have been an awesome thing in Minecraft. Anyway, watch the movie.
It's entertaining. It's on Netflix. If you got an hour or
Hour and a half.
if you got 2 hours,
It was, I don't know.
it's a good, solid, entertaining watch.
In my opinion, it's better than most kung fu movies.
But then again, you already said you don't watch kung fu.
That's because I don't like them. I used to.
You did.
No, I used to watch kung fu movies all the times with a couple friends.
Huh.
Like back in the day. And I haven't watched like a ton of them because I never really liked them. But no, in my opinion, like I said, it pokes fun at some kung fu movies in my opinion, and it actually has a nice character arc for the villain.
True, yeah.
I mean, I felt like it was more his story than the main characters.
Yeah.
The main character was just there to be determined.
I think what surprised me most about the movie is that we get to the end and all of a sudden it's like, oh, the end? ... question mark, and then it kind of does like a fade as if it was gonna like end the movie, but then it like comes back into full color and then zooms back in where it was zooming, and then it starts showing you all these like all this thing about this other villain that's coming to the town to destroy the town. It's like, what? Cliffhanger ending.
Well, it actually had a trailer for the second movie in the credits.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, they were shot at the same time.
I enjoyed that part. That was a pleasant surprise.
Well,
I mean, the whole movie was a pleasant surprise.
yeah, it really was. And one thing that I didn't notice when I watched it with you, but I watched it on the rewatch, is they have those American soldiers, or well, they're British soldiers, but the British soldiers are there, and they're all walking around. In the fight scene, they were fighting with metal sticks, and I think I made a comment about that. That was silly that they're fighting with metal sticks. They're actually carrying metal sticks like guns the entire movie.
Huh.
They are holding them like guns. And I was like, are they just cheap? But then they have those guys with guns at the end. A lot of guys with guns. So it's apparent that they could afford guns. They were just being weird.
Metal stick.
These guys are dressed in like classic, like British, dress uniform guard.
Well, they said they were part of the East India Trading Company.
Something like that. I don't remember, but they were fancy looking. But they had metal sticks. They carried them like rifles.
Okay, the one part that this just has to do with me being
You?
Yeah, me being me and enjoying symmetry. I hated the fact that the main character only had a horn on one side of his head.
I really liked that.
I hated that. When you have horns, you need two horns, not just one on one side. You have to have symmetrical horns so that they match and so that it looks even.
See, I actually immediately after you left started working on a character design with a guy with one horn.
Oh gosh. Of course you did. No, I like symmetry and even and
That's funny, because, I mean, that's just another way that we're very different.
I
I don't even know why I like you. We have nothing in common anymore.
You like me because I stick around.
And you like me because I stick
still here,
around.
and you're still here. Okay, that was one thing. Okay, so I've always kind of divided my friends into one of two categories. You got the people on the left. They're over here. They're the friends who share in the same type of interests that I have. But then on the right side, we got the people who are more sharing life together type people, and those people I have very little in common with. My girlfriend is actually one of those people.
Really?
Like, she and I have very little in common. I think the most we have in common is that we enjoy macaroni and cheese. Kraft macaroni and cheese. And corn dogs.
Ew, not a fan.
That's about it.
Holy crap, right now I want a corn dog, though.
You're welcome. But yeah, so friendship. We've done some cutting to this episode. Things happened, but we segued it, and so you didn't notice it. But I don't remember what we were talking about before we had to cut stuff. And
anyway, friendship.
Friendship is complicated. Okay, speaking of relationships, some of my friends recently got divorced.
Oh, really?
They've been married for about 1.5 years.
Do I know this person?
No, you don't.
Okay.
And for whatever reason, I found myself today scrolling through her Facebook pictures. I don't remember why, but but then I see all the pictures of their wedding. It's just like, oh, huh. I remember being there, and the tone was a happy tone, and everybody was celebrating. And
now they hate each other.
And relationships are complicated, man. Because, like, yeah, the people made the decision to... Oh, it was more one-sided. One of the people made the major decision to part ways, but it's one of those things that, like, it doesn't just affect you.
Yeah.
There are so many people who are involved in that in one way or another, where friendships are... I don't know, actually.
I've been watching Dexter, and there was a fantastically written and put together scene about relationships in that show, where he has a FBI guard with him because they think he's going to get attacked. So they have like four or five of these just giant guys that never say anything with him everywhere he goes. And he's talking to his girlfriend about stuff, and they had a rough spat, and they're trying to put it back together and stuff. And they have this big long conversation, and on the phone, and the whole conversation that like these guys are just kind of sitting there awkwardly through like the whole scene. These guys with him, because they're in a car, they're like in this little tiny cabin. He's squished between these two huge guys, and then they're like just kind of sitting there. And he's like, "We're gonna get back together." And then one guy goes, "Communication is the key." And it was wonderful the way they did it. There was just these three guys in the back of this. It was very well put together. And that's the thing about that show. It has its upsides, it has its downsides. But there are some very, very well put together artistic things in it that I really enjoy.
I started watching Justified this week.
Oh, you told me about that. How's that?
It's interesting.
You want to remind me what that's about again?
It's a cop show, sort of, about basically, I mean, it's not a time travel thing, but it basically is...
Best way to ever start a sentence, by the way.
What?
It's not a time travel thing.
It's as if you took, like, a U.S. Marshal from, like, a cowboy show, and you dropped that character into modern-day society. What would happen? Justified would happen.
Okay, then.
It's the opening scene is him facing off with this dude across the table, threatening to kill him if he doesn't leave. And he had said, "If you don't leave in 24 hours, I'm going to kill you." He's got like 3 minutes left. And so the guy doesn't leave, so he ends up killing him. And so, you can't do that anymore in modern day society. So he ends up getting shipped off to Kentucky because
it's okay there.
Because they kind of wanted to just keep him under the radar for a while. But no, it's interesting.
So is he just like an overly like practical /
He's stylish.
He's a stylish gentleman.
A classic stylish kind of. I don't know. It's worth checking out.
Is the villain a mustache swirling kind of a guy?
Actually, the villains have actually been kind of interesting so far. The first villain was a white supremacist Nazi.
Oh, okay. Fair enough. That fits.
Who had at one point in the past been friends with the main guy.
I just had this really weird image in my head of Hitler trying to twirl his mustache, and it's going like, great radio here, but he was like,
gosh. And then the second episode was about this guy who broke out from prison to get the reason he had been in prison in the first place was because he stole a bunch of money and he hid it in a house. But then he found out that somebody else was trying to get his money. So he broke out of prison 3 months before he was going to be released to make sure he could get the money before the other people did.
Fair enough.
Well, it's been some unique, interesting villains.
Season 2 of
I love the relationships, like the banter that they have with the main guy.
Oh, yeah?
Because it's a really friendly banter.
Is it a well-written show?
Oh, yes.
Okay, because that's a big thing with you, is you generally like well-written shows.
Yes, it is very interesting in the way that it is. I very much enjoy the way that it's written.
I feel like part of me has felt like Dexter is the super dark crime drama version of Scrubs. Like,
what?
I know it's a really, really weird connection, but like there are a couple similarities in that the main characters are crazy in both of those shows and they talk to themselves in their head all the time.
Gotcha.
Like the main characters have some and no similarities whatsoever.
Yeah.
But no, I don't know. I felt like, I don't know. I loved Scrubs. That was such a fun show.
That was a very fun show. I very much
I love good comedy out there. And you know, like, when I was younger, I watched, like, that 70s show and stuff, and that's a great show. But I have a really hard time with sitcoms. Like, the traditional sitcom. Now, I have a hard time watching that. And, like, I watched the first episode of
How I Met Your Mother.
And I stopped immediately. And I was like, I've heard so much good stuff about this show. But I just like, I was like, I cannot feel it. And I'm sure that if I watched more of it, I'd get into it more.
The sitcom that bugs me a ton is The Big Bang Theory.
I've never seen anything about that show.
So much of that show is built around humor regarding the stereotypes of nerds.
Speaking of the stereotypes,
but again, that's I have only seen a couple episodes, and so my experience with it is fairly limited. So I'm just adding that as a disclaimer at the end.
This is really bad entertainment / radio, but that episode, that clip I sent you, or not the clip, but that episode that I sent you of Portland,
India. Never watched it yet.
It's an episode about nerds. Well, it's actually making fun of like it starts out with like this like kind of hot girl wearing like nerdy glasses. She's like, oh yeah, I'm totally a nerd. I play video games all the time. And then this like fat guy wearing like steampunk goggles comes out and he's just like, I'm a nerd. I role play in the park, and he starts going into like all this like cliche nerd stuff, and he's like very like sad, and he's just like, I'm very, very shy. I don't like talking to people, and he's just like, she's not a nerd. Real nerds aren't glad that they're nerds. If you're a nerd, don't say you're a nerd. And it's like this, what's a PSA kind of a thing, and it pops up with like this whole thing at the end. It was great. I loved it. I laughed so hard at it. Made me so happy because like I have a real hard time. I've noticed lately, especially that like I hate fan groups. Like when it comes down to it, and like I mean, when you gather that many people who think that what they like is the best, and that they know everything about it. It's the worst thing ever. Like, and it doesn't matter what. And so I actually had this conversation with my girlfriend a while back where I was just like, I hate the fact that I am or considered a nerd, like by anyone. Because I mean, yeah, I like video games. I play a lot of video games. I do nerdy things. I play D&D and stuff. But like, I can dress myself. I have a girlfriend, you know?
Well, I also want to argue the opposite of that, saying that nerdiness, as the definition of the word has evolved today, more has to do with what the fact that you are interested in something that is not mainstream,
right?
Not so much that you are socially inept,
right? No, I know, but I don't know. There's just that like
PBS Idea Channel did a really cool video on this.
Oh yeah,
and I don't remember what it was, but I will add it if I can find it. I will add it as a link to the description.
Lots of
this
links.
Video.
It's great.
There have been links in all kinds of these descriptions, man.
Oh, yeah?
I put a link for the you could just screw your chivalry, screw it. I put a link for that and everything.
I know Mr. H mentioned that because he remember the other day.
Nope.
He Steam chatted both of us.
Yep.
And I was just like, I made a dirty comment back.
You bad boy.
No, but I don't know. Fan groups bug me.
Fandoms or fan groups?
Both.
Both.
Well, because I mean, I love a lot.
You a brony.
Oh, good God. The fact that, okay, as soon as a fan group takes on a name, they should be shot. No, okay, so my girlfriend, she's really, really loves this K-pop group. And, which is funny because...
No offense to people who love K-pop.
Well, and I mean, like, they're not the worst K-pop group out there. No offense to every K-pop group out there. But she likes them a lot and everything, and she's been buying their CDs, and I'm like, oh, they're all right.
She buys CDs still?
Yeah.
Like physical CDs?
Yeah, they come with crap.
Oh my God. Okay, remind me to tell you about Loot Crate.
She got socks with a member's face on them, and I'm like, they came with one of her CDs. I'm like, what the frick is this? And she's like, they're so cute because they're like these super chibi versions. I'm like, that's just a freaking generic chibi character. He's got squinty eyes. So they're just like, he's Korean. Look, it's this one guy from the band. Sorry, that was really offensive. I love Asians. I really do. They're my favorite people.
I'm not saying anything.
No, okay, so anyway, she's really obsessed with this group, and she's kind of involved with, like, she follows them a lot and everything. And she's like, this fan group is trying to come up with a name for themselves. And I'm like, leave the fan group. And they want to come, it's for this band EXO-K or something like that. And she's like, and they want to name themselves Exotics. And I'm like,
yep.
That makes my skin crawl.
That's how you proclaim legitimacy. It's like that Eddie Izzard sketch. Do you have a flag?
Well, and like okay, so like Doctor Who. We both hate Doctor Who.
Okay.
This could be a whole podcast to itself. We'll save it. We'll save it for the next episode because we're going to talk about that soon.
I just want to say that it's not so much that I hate Doctor Who. It's like I don't care about Doctor Who, but the fan base trying to force me to like it.
Yeah.
That's what makes me hate it.
And that has actually made us hate the show.
And anything associated
I watched a good season and a half of that show. Like, I mean, of New Who or whatever.
New Who.
I don't know. But I mean, I've been friggin' slapped by some chick because I told her I didn't like Doctor Who. And I was like, the heck? Like, and that's like the whole thing though, is that like, and no offense because everyone loves Doctor Who, but freaking Like, the fan base for Doctor Who is so obsessive.
Almost as bad as some brown coats.
Oh, yeah. Well, but a lot larger than brown coats, though, is the thing. That's, because... You should probably clarify who brown coats are.
No, I'm not gonna. I'm gonna leave it in...
Link in the description below.
To the Urban Dictionary page.
Yeah.
Brown coats are Firefly fans.
Firefly
fans.
That is a good show.
Yeah, it is a decent quality show.
I still love the theme song.
Oh gosh.
Since I found serenity.
There's a joke about that in the third Gamers movie.
Oh yeah?
That's pretty entertaining, but I don't want to spoil it.
Nice.
That's worth watching. Well, I think that about wraps it up for episode 7 of Cool Down Timer. I am Nifu.
And I'm Zingles Art Man.
You can find the things that we do on YouTube, youtube.com/Nifu. You can also follow me on Twitter at @StraightUpNifu.
Really?
Yeah.
That's your Twitter? I think I've been on Twitter once since we set up those accounts. We set up our Twitter accounts together because we were both like, oh, Twitter.
I've been trying to learn Twitter the last week or two.
Your life. I hate Twitter.
Yeah, no, dude.
Only because, like, I just feel like a man should never tweet. Like, I'm sorry. I know it's popular and all that, but...
Hey, now. Don't be, like, putting me in your gender stereotype box. I can tweet all I want and still be a man.
You said that, and then you did the head, like, rotation thing and twirled your wrist.
They can't see that.
I know. That's why I'm explaining it, so that everyone has this as proof. Anyway, thanks, guys, for listening. We love you.
And you can email us your horrible movie ideas. Not horrible. Don't pitch us bad movies.
Yeah. Well,
pitch us
what I was
movies that have already been made that are...
What I was kind of looking for specifically are, and this is just me, we haven't chatted about this, is something I had in mind, was looking for...
I don't approve.
Good movies that no one knows about.
Oh, okay,
like
yeah.
little Netflix gems or whatever.
Yeah, like little...
You know? Because, I mean, there's a lot of good movies on there that have just never been watched by anybody.
And we've got Netflix and Amazon Prime, so if it's on either of those services where we don't have to pay anything more than we're already paying, let us know at...
Contact us at cooldownttimer.com.
Yep! Contact us at cooldownttimer.com. Do we have anything else that we do that we regularly update?
No, but...
we got a Facebook page.
We do.
Facebook.com/cooldownttimerpodcast.
Yeah.
So go like us on there. That's how you... Oh, and we also have at cooldownttimer a Twitter page, or a Twitter feed thing.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things, man. Go follow us already, man. What are you doing here? Or unless you've got us open in other windows or something.
I seriously doubt that.
Yeah, I know, right? You're probably just... If there's any of you there, or if you're people who caught on later and are now listening back to our old episodes, hi, how's it going? Thanks for listening.
The important thing is that we're having fun. Screw you guys.
Amen to that.
All right, guys. See you next week.
Bye. One thing I've kind of always noticed is that I've always noticed that I have two different types of friends. I've got the friends that crunch so loud.
I can't do anything about it. It's crunchy.
Two different types of friends.
Oh, yeah.
Two different types.
Give me more.
Two different types of friends.
Hold on, let me finish the crunchy. Don't ever show this to anyone. Don't ever show this to anyone. I'm gonna die.
of 100,000 Ways to Die, and one of the guys died laughing himself to death.
What?
He died because he laughed so hard for so long that
Crap. Wow.
What was that?